So I guess it's an show tonight. All names that end in And Moira LoBianco is my guest tonight, who is an amazing pianist, composer, and apparently singer of the Italian version of Gloria, because I was just hearing some of it. That's amazing. That was crazy. I love that. I mean, maybe you should sing a few bars. Laura Branigan's Gloria.
Really. Thank you.
Laura Branigan. Wow. Well, it's July 3rd, the eve before Independence Day. Happy Independence. And we're on City World Radio Network on a very sultry, thunderstormy, incredibly humid night in New York City. But it's wonderful because I've got Jade, my wonderful singer-songwriter, engineer in the house, Jade Zabrich. How are you, Jade? What's happening?
Came out with a music video today.
You came out with a music video today, so how do we see it? YouTube Lifetime, Jade Zabrich. Oh my gosh, that's exciting. We'll check that out. And I will be talking with Moira LoBianco, who's involved in many things and has a couple of albums out, Imago and Lunaria, but currently 1912, which we're going to talk about, very interesting and intriguing collaborative dance video music album and project, rather.
Yes.
But first, let me just tell you about the medley that you heard, which we always start Mia's World with this musical medley based on composers who were born today or close to today. So first we, of course, heard our standard theme song for Mia's World, Moonlight in Vermont, the Stan Getz version. And Moira and I are both big on moons and moonlight and full moons and crescent moons and lots of moons. So we love our moon songs and our moon. Then we had Take 5 by the Dave Brubeck Quartet. Dave Brubeck was not born on July 3rd, but Take 5 was taped 59 years ago on July 1st, 1959. So it's just kind of a historical thing. Composed by Paul Desmond and recorded on July 1st, 1959. And then 2 years later, it became the biggest selling jazz single ever. And that's pretty amazing. Okay, then we heard Betty Buckley, turning 70 today with Sometimes I'm Still Here, the beautiful Betty Buckley. Then the one and only Johnny Hartman singing My One and Only Love, a beautiful ballad. He was born July 3rd, 1923. My One and Only Love by Guy Wood and Robert Mellon. And then I loved the jazz singer Phyllis Hyman, born July 6th, 1949. She died at the age of 46 in 1995. And that was a song called, a moon song, which I chose, called Meet Me on the Moon. I loved Phyllis Hyman, born July 6th, died way too early. And then we've got a lot of country singers born on July 3rd for some reason. First, Aaron Tippin, country singer, 59 today. That's As Close as I'll Get to Loving You. You really should check out that video. It's kind of hot. And then we heard part of the soundtrack from Risky Business, because Tom Cruise turns 55 today. Hard to believe. That was Old Time Rock and Roll, written by George Jackson and Thomas Jones. Tom Cruise, 55 today. And then we heard Kevin Hearn, the keyboardist, 48 today, from Bare Naked Ladies. That was Don't Shuffle Me Back. And then the singer Audra McDonald, who's 47 today, with the amazing Gershwin tune, Summertime, perfect for now. And then our second country singer of tonight, 42 today, Trent Tomlinson, with In Case You Didn't Know, followed by the wonderful jazz clarinetist Pete Fountain with Sammy Fain's tune, You Found a New Kind of Love. I love that song. And then our third country singer-songwriter, Sarah Buxton, 37 today, with Outside My Window. Rock-bass guitarist Andy Frazier is born 1952, so turns 66 today, maybe? Mm-hmm. Thank you for the math. And then Laura Branigan with Gloria, born 1952. Laura Branigan also died too young, 2004. So that was the musical medley. A couple of quick announcements today. Other birthdays today. Playwright Tom Stoppard, famous for Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, turned 80 today. Franz Kafka, 1883, July 3rd. The TV writer Jay Tarsis, 78 today. The attorney Gloria Allred, 76 today. The writer-cartoonist Dave Barry, 70 today, along with Betty Buckley, 70 today. And WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange, born July 3rd, turns 46 today. Johnny Hartman we heard about. And Ron Collier, Canadian jazz composer-conductor, born in 1930. And we heard about Laura Branigan, of course. Today's holidays include American Redneck Day, so hence all the country singers possibly celebrating American Redneck Day. Not that all country singers are redneck. I love country music. Disobedience Day, so we can be disobedient today. You like that, Moira?
Yes.
It's National Chocolate Wafer Day.
I like this too.
It's National Compliment Your Mirror Day. That's kind of amusing. Eat Beans Day and Stay Out of the Sun Day. Well, the thunderstorms are helping. And now we're going to do our weekly wrap-up of the news in rhyme, and then we'll talk with my beautiful guest, Moira LoBianco. So here's the weekly wrap-up of the news in rhyme to spark up the gloom of the news. Harley Davidson, oh please, moving production overseas, avoiding tariffs, yikes, these American bikes may face a financial squeeze. These bikers who voted for Trump may see Harley Davidson slump. They may take a hit. Are they worried one bit? Just listen to Forrest Gump. Life's like a chocolate box. It's an up and down paradox. Just celebrate and exhilarate. Forget checking NASDAQ stocks. We're talking about civility in light of the recent hostility towards Trump female staff. This is no laughing matter. We need some tranquility. Maxine Waters is revving the crowd to act and confront out loud. Can't we simply discuss without all this fuss and make our country proud? Things are getting hot in the Supreme Court justice spot. With Kennedy leaving, Roe waiters are grieving. Will it be overturned or not? What's happened to Meghan Markle? She seems to have lost her sparkle. In deference to the Queen, she's lost some sheen, respect for the matriarchal. Her dresses have been called frumpy, her shoes too big and lumpy. No color spark, too light, too dark. Wonder if she's feeling grumpy. She's been listening to the straight and narrow advice of Kate. To fit right in, to her chagrin, is Harry still her soulmate? Will England face Brazil in the World Cup finals? Yes, it will. According to facts from Goldman Sachs with computers and math, what a thrill. Ariana's not the last to date one of the SNL cast. ScarJo and Colin Yost, Weekend Update host. Some of us are aghast. Guess it's trendy now to date comedians. Wow. Guess I'm perplexed. Is Gaga next to take the comedy vow? It's Chocolate Wafer Day, a new Mexican president, Olé. Too far left for the wall, will Humpty Dumpty fall? Or where is my Chardonnay? That's our little wrap-up in rhyme of the week. Sports, politics, everybody's watching the World Cup. It's getting crazy. But here we are in our little intimate studio at City World Radio, and we've got a beautiful guest tonight whom I met pretty recently through my friend Nicola Ayervasi, who heads up MN Elements, which is a beautiful choreography dance troupe, and I've known him for a long time, and introduced me to Moira LoBianco at the occasion of the one-woman show of Mia Martini. And we recently had the actress Erica Orban, who played Mia Martini. And so now we've got a Calabrian. Is that what I say? A Calabrian.
Yes.
Or do I say a Calabrian?
No, Calabrian.
Calabrian.
Yes.
So Moira LoBianco, welcome to Mia's World.
Thank you so much for having me.
Fantastic. Really wonderful to have you here. Okay, let's go back to the beginning. So you were born in Calabria, and I read that at age 5, you got a toy piano. Was that the beginning of your interest in music?
Yes, and that was it. I never stopped.
Really? Isn't it amazing how one little thing can change your entire life?
Yeah, it's also true that if you are bored, you just want to get interest in something.
And the toy piano did that, right?
Yes.
So did you teach yourself?
No, I started very early age to take piano lessons.
You did?
Yeah.
In Calabria?
Yes, I had a very tough teacher who was a mentor to me. Her name was Mariella Pugliese, and she was very tough. I mean, very, very old school.
Scales, harmonies.
Yeah,
theory.
but also, the way, like, she will not treat you as a kid. Like, she will expect from you to be a professional when you were 8,
Wow.
So that taught me a lot.
Discipline.
Yes, amazing.
Although
amazing.
you could have stopped because a lot of kids wouldn't want
Absolutely,
to pursue
absolutely. But like we went through our moments, and eventually, when I was about 15, 16, we really bond on a deeper level. And she was with me until when she died, when I was 19 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
So a long time.
Yes.
Over 10 years.
Yes. Yes.
Wow, that's a beautiful bond, right?
It's
I remember
amazing.
when my sister and I took piano lessons. You do bond with some of them, some of your teachers. And my sister, Judy Wolf, is a piano teacher. So I hope you're listening, Judy. And here's to you for your piano students and your whole clients and your whole teaching practice and school. So, Moira, so you started out. Did you immediately get drawn to, I know you love Bach and Bartok, but were you drawn to the classics
Yes.
immediately?
So Mariella introduced me to Bach and Bartok since when I was 8 years old. And she made me practice the Microcosmos by Bartok. And the easy pieces by Bach, then going to the inventions, 2 and 3 voices, and then the suites. And then I really practice a lot of Bach throughout my life. And this is a privilege because there is nothing more beautiful than Bach.
And phenomenal training for your hands and fingers and harmony and theory.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
And counterpoint, which is the magic.
And also for improvisation.
Yes.
Right?
Well, improvisation in my life came very
later. It
yes,
did.
because I received a very classically
Straight.
education. So we were performers, and I started writing when I was 15, composing.
At home or?
At home, yes. But I never really allowed myself to make mistakes. So improvisation always include the chance as an element.
Right.
And that includes the mistake.
Right.
So I had to overcome first a lot of fears. And then, when I was ready, after my degree at the conservatory.
This was the conservatory in Italy?
Yes.
Okay. In Siena?
No, that was later.
Okay.
So we had a conservatory in Calabria. And I had the fortune to study there with Paolo Subrizzi, who was an amazing pianist. And then I graduated under his guidance when I was 18 years old. In Italy, the conservatory is 10 years long. So you basically start when you are 8 and you do the regular schools. So you do elementary schools, middle schools, high school, but at the same time you also attend the conservatory. So I graduated there, and then I moved to Rome, where I enrolled to university.
Wow! So you moved around, but you had a great background in the classics. And really discipline and
yes.
Really amazing. What did your parents think of this choice of career?
So the beauty is that I have a family that is very supportive. So my parents told to me and also to my sister to pick the career that we wanted to do, because this is what we're going to do for the rest of our life. So they really left us to choose whatever we wanted. My sister, she's a great psychotherapist, and they became in Italy, and they became a composer, and pianist, and they supported us.
That's really wonderful, because
I am blessed. Yes,
it's very unique in many families. It's not that way.
Yeah,
but it's wonderful. And as I've said many times, even if they did not support it, you might have rebelled and gone on anyway.
Exactly.
Or you could have listened. It could go any way.
Yeah.
But you must have been very determined or very drawn, passionate.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure. This is what they saw, and this is what they supported.
And have they seen or heard a lot of your music?
Yeah.
I
Constantly.
guess. Constantly.
Oh, my God. I was practicing. I still do, but when I was at the conservatory, it was 6 hours. Every day.
Oh my gosh.
Including Sundays.
Wow. Well, they got a lot of taste of your music then.
So poor family.
That's phenomenal. No, let's hear something before we talk about your current project, 1912, which we will talk about, and talk about the performances coming up. Let's hear something from a former collaboration, or composition, rather, I should say. let's see. What should we hear first? I think maybe the first one, and I want to hear about this. First we'll hear it, then we'll hear about it. So Jade, Moira 2A, Marilyn first movement, which is Moira 2A, I think, on the drive. Okay, so this is called Marilyn, and it's in several movements. This is part of the first movement. Okay, Moira LoBianco. That is ethereal. It's vibrant. It's sort of Latin. It's Italian. It's I don't know. It's just got a really rich sound. It's
Thank
like
you.
nothing I've heard. Really.
Thank you so much.
It's Moira-esque. It's LoBianco. And that is called Marilyn, the first movement. Now, is there a Marilyn who inspired this?
Yes. So when I was young, I hated Marilyn Monroe because, the image that we had was very, like very superficial woman and so sexy and appealing, and she liked diamonds. So it was very far from my idea of female force. But then, when I was a little older, I started checking out her personal life. And I really saw her with different eyes. I understood how much struggles and loneliness and difficulties she had in her own life. And this was a way for me to apologize to her. And write a piece that will show how much fragility there can be behind somebody that looks so sparkling and fantastic.
Not just superficial.
Yeah.
And much deeper.
Yes.
Which I find your work to be much deeper than, just the surface. And
Thank you.
Such an interesting combination of sounds. It's really intriguing. And there's other movements, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just really amazing. So you have to go to Moira, Moira, LoBianco.com.
Yeah.
And you can hear pieces of many different kinds of your music. So let's talk a little bit about, which I just found out tonight, about some of your inspiration from the artist Kandinsky.
Yes. So this is my latest project.
Mm-hmm.
So Marilyn, the one that we just heard, is from my first album, which was called Lunaria, and was an album in trio featuring Marcello Pellitteri on drums and Bruno Reiberg on double bass. So that was an experiment for me on how to merge classical and jazz. I will say.
Yes, yes.
This latest project, instead, it's very much inspired by visual art. And 1912, it's a multi-movement suite that I wrote inspired by composition number 8 by Kandinsky. And the title refers to the year when his book was published. This book that I strongly encourage you all to read, it's called Concerning the Spiritual in Art. And I read the book a couple of years ago, and I fell in love, and I decided to write a piece that will translate into musical elements what Kandinsky represents in his painting, Composition number 8.
Now, do you have visual training as well? Do you paint or sketch?
Well, very, very amatorial for myself and for my parents. So,
that's good.
That's it.
Oh,
but I definitely have an eye for visual art, and I find Kandinsky extremely musical.
Yes.
I don't know if you
yes,
right.
I do.
It's so musical.
Just to look at the paintings, there's a lot of rhythm.
Yes,
right?
a lot of
like
rhythm,
pulsating.
Absolutely.
And so during your performances, you project video, including his painting.
Yeah. So this is the first time that I have the great pleasure of collaborating with a choreographer and dancer. Her name is Megan Saib, and during the next performances that we will have during the summer, Maria Carla Spagna is going to dance Megan's choreography because Megan is pregnant.
She's pregnant?
Of twins.
What?
So she's very big now. She's 6 months pregnant.
Oh my God.
And she was dancing till May 12. We performed. Yes, we performed at the Campbell Theatre here in New York. But she can't really move anymore. So Maria Carla Spagna is going to substitute her for these next performances. And the project also features an amazing electronic composer, Quentin Chiappetta, and also a video animation by Aaron Gonzalez, which is going to, which generally translates the elements that you find in the painting. So the circle, the triangle, the line, the floating line. He have fun with them. And we are all in sync, dancer, pianist, electronic composer, and video. And through several cues, we make that piece of art become alive.
Beautiful. And so I just want to mention the calendar for 1912 performances coming up July 14th, which is actually Bastille Day, at the Unisphere. Is that the Old World's Fair?
Yes.
Right?
It's part of the Queensboro Dance Festival.
Right.
And we have several performances, both outdoors and indoors. So the next one in July, they are both going to be outdoors.
July 14th at Unisphere and July 21st at Juniper Valley, which is...
it's going to be like... these are performances for the community. So nice. I think it's a space. I didn't see the space yet.
But just check out Moira LoBianco and you'll see the dates on there. The 14th to 21st September, we don't know yet when, and October 14th, but there's more to come.
Yeah, October 14th we're going to perform at the Queen's Theatre.
Nice. Fantastic. This is so exciting. So let's hear a little bit of 1912 since we're talking about it, right? Let's hear... the concentric triangle, maybe?
The concentric force or the big triangle, wherever you prefer.
Jay, do you have that? Okay. Which one do you have? Concentric force. Sure. That's...
I love concentric force, actually.
Okay. That's fine. Perfect. Concentric force. Moira LoBianco. Is this it? Did it stop? Okay. Well, we're back. And that was Concentric Force, part of 1912, an amazing project conceived by Moira LoBianco. And those are performances coming up of 1912. And you do such interesting collaborations. What is it about the collaborative process that you like so much?
Well, you learn. Because as composers, and especially as a pianist, we are solo instruments. And we generally are in our room and we think about what is important for us. And it's very important instead to have a vision that is different from what you generally think it's the right way to do things or the way you feel things. Yes. So dance, for me, it's really an amazing discipline and form of art.
Do you dance?
Well, samba.
Well, that's dance.
I don't know if you can consider it dance. Yeah. No, I mean, yes, you can consider it dance, but, I don't know if I am, good enough. But anyway, I love dancers and the way they are trained. It's very, very harsh, very severe. And the relationship they have with their bodies and the discipline that they have. It's something that I feel we have in common. But instead of thinking music as music, whenever I perform or compose for dancers, I think music in terms of movements and breathing as a dancer will do and phrasing as a dancer will do.
Don't you wish that somebody like Kandinsky would just stop by and see what you've done? Wouldn't that be amazing? Bring him back.
Yes.
Right?
Vasily, please.
Yes, Vasily. Well, I would love to play a little piece of a completely different style of your music, which is much more impressionistic, because you like both. You like the vibrant and the dissonant as well as the...
Yeah.
Impressionistic, maybe I would say. So this is, I would like to play the improv on Véritable Prélude. This is based on Eric Satie.
Yes, so this is part of my second album, which actually was produced by Steinway & Sons. And
you're a Steinway artist, we have to say.
And the second album is called Imago. And this album is a study on how you can mix classical skills, mixing classical with other genres. And I also include some little improvisation in the album, just because I also think that as classical musicians, we should improvise. It doesn't matter how well we do it, but it should be part of our practice. So Satie is a composer that I love very much. And I think he was a genius, even though he, most of the time, is not considered a genius. And this is something very sad, in my opinion. And these preludes are not very famous. And he wrote the 3 preludes for a dog. So he was basically describing the life of a dog. And this demonstrates also, how much he will not take himself so seriously,
right,
and and this is the second movement, so the second prelude, that it's Seul à la maison.
Seul à la maison, alone at the house, and this is Moira LoBianco's improv on Véritable Prélude by Satie. And Moira, number 18. that was Moira LoBianco, improv on Véritable Prélude by Satie. And you were saying?
That this is an unmeasured form. So classical composers, throughout the whole history, starting from the 1600 through the most contemporary composers, they will use sometimes unmeasured forms, meaning that there is no bar line. And this actually, it was a way back in the 1600, a way that composer will allow performers to approach improvisation. There is a series of preludes composed by Louis Couperin, which are all unmeasured. And this actually, it was a great way for the performer to interpret the phrasing as they would like to, and in a way to make that music their own extemporary composition.
Interesting.
Yeah, very
Goes
much.
back to 1600?
Yeah, and then we have it again in the 1900s.
Right. So it never ends.
Yeah.
Cycles continue. Well, that was really elegant and beautiful. I wanted to talk a little bit about your blog, which you, I know you're very committed to the blog, which is primarily to highlight women composers.
Female composers.
Right. And so one of the ones that you talk about is Andrea Clearfield. And
this is my last composer of the female series. I had 4 wonderful composers. I started the equinox during the first day of equinox.
June 21st?
It was March 21st.
Okay.
That was the beginning with Stephanie Tiernan, who is actually a wonderful, wonderful composer and pianist, and former chair of the piano department at Berklee College of Music. And I love,
which is where you went and got a faculty.
Yes,
a
and
grant.
and I was teaching there for 4 years. And Stephanie is actually a very influential personality in my life, not only as a musician and composer, but also as a person. She's just incredible. And then I had Cherie Clement, which is an American composer, and then a very dear friend of mine, Giulia Tagliavia, who is a young Italian composer. And then the last composer of the series for this spring is Andrea Clearfield, which is a composer based in Philadelphia. But I started the blog to share my research on Chiquinha Gonzaga.
Yes, a female Brazilian composer.
What a woman.
My God, I'd never heard of her,
I know, that's so sad. But actually, it's because at the time in the 1800s, female were not really allowed to be composers or musicians at all. And Chiquinha was the first female in Brazil that actually made a point out of it. And, she was excommunicated by the church and her family because she got a divorce. She didn't want to live the little life that people will expect her to live. And she started, making a living as a musician. So she wrote a lot of music, and together with her peers, she created the premiered version of choro music that then was developed in the 1920s. But Chiquinha, in the late 1800s started doing this, so that was great.
And so that was what you researched?
Yes.
Was that part of your grant?
Yes, so actually I received a grant from Berklee, which was called Berklee Faculty Fellowship Grant. And
in order to study her?
Yeah, so I went to Brazil and I stayed there a month. And I had the opportunity to visit the archive where all Chiquinha's manuscripts are, and talk to the people who are actually involved with her studies and this kind of music, which is choro. And it's not, very much played compared to samba or bossa nova, but it's an amazing genre that I encourage all of you to check out. Choro, so it's spelled Choro. And Chiquinha was, one of the pioneers of this style.
And is Lua Branca?
Lua Branca is a song.
That's
amazing.
Yes, in fact, that's what we're going to hear. We could hear it right now and then come right back. And
sure.
How about that, Jade? So that's the one we were going to go out with, but we're going to just switch it and play it, the one that I added. So this is going to be, what is her first name really?
Lua Branca. Francisca Chiquinha Gonzaga.
Francisca Chiquinha Gonzaga. Okay,
yes.
listen to this.
Obrigada. Essa música que acabei de cantar chama-se Casa de Caboclo, de Chiquinha Gonzaga. A Chiquinha Gonzaga é uma figura ilustre na música popular brasileira, que apesar de ter vivido há mais de 100 anos, ainda continua a ser lembrada por suas belas composições feitas no piano. Ó lua branca de fulgores e de encanto, se é verdade que ao amor tu das abrigo, vem tirar dos olhos meus o pranto, vem matar essa paixão que anda comigo. Por quem és, desce do céu, ó lua branca, essa amargura no meu peito vem e arranca. Dá-me um luar de tua compaixão, ai, vem por Deus iluminar meu coração. E quantas vezes lá no céu me aparecias a brilhar em noite calma e constelada, a tua luz então me surpreendia, ajoelhado junto aos pés da minha amada, e ela chorar, a soluçar cheia de beijo. Vi em seus lábios me ofertar um doce beijo. Ela partiu, me abandonou assim. Ó lua.
So you're listening to Luisa Lara singing Lua Branca by Chiquinha Gonzaga, a lot of and Lua Branca, Moira just told me, means
Moon.
white moon.
Yes.
And we were very moon conscious today, so that's perfect for our evening. And this is just exquisite, so I now understand why you wanted to spend so much time studying her.
Yeah, she's incredible. I really encourage your audience and you as well to check out Chiquinha, because as a female also, she's an encouragement, you know, a very courageous woman who at the end of the 1800s in Brazil, she decided to become who she was. And not just be at home and be, you know, a wife and raise her kids.
She
and
followed her passion, and today
Yes.
being disobedience today.
Exactly. And tomorrow Independence Day.
Exactly. It's perfect, right? We're perfect setup here. And it's been such a joy to have you on, Moira
It's
LoBianco.
my pleasure,
I'm
my
Liz
dear.
Roll. Thank you so much for listening to this gorgeous music. And MoiraLoBianco.com, you'll hear all of her amazing work on Imago, Lunaria, and currently 1912. Kandinsky and Brazil and Italy all combined, and all kinds of collaborations. So thank you so much for your work and for being here.
Thank
And
you
this
for
has
having
been-
me.
Oh, my pleasure. Mia's World, City World Radio Network. Go and enjoy and be independent. Celebrate Independence Day. And stay tuned for Chirp About It on City World Radio Network.
If you served honorably in our nation's armed forces and you're looking for a way to continue serving your fellow veterans in your community, then join AMVETS. Each year, AMVETS members volunteer millions of hours at VA healthcare facilities from coast to coast, helping to improve the lives of their fellow veterans through the VA Voluntary Services Program. AMVETS posts and departments also participate in a wide variety of community service projects, ranging from Americanism in our schools to supporting the Special Olympics and Boy Scouts of America. If you no longer wear the uniform today, you can still serve through the AMVETS by joining today at amvets.org.
Hi, I'm Janice Ian. Do you remember how excited you were at the start of summer every year, and how the summer just started to drag on after a few months and you couldn't wait to get back to school, see your old friends, make new friends, get new books and a new locker and a clean slate? Well, you should have been excited about music class, too, because that was a special room where you went to sing, perform with your friends, and learn all kinds of interesting stuff about great composers, instruments, different kinds of music, and songs. We remember our music teachers because they were so passionate about helping us learn to love music. They helped to spark a love for listening to notes and voices and rhythms that continues to enrich our lives even today. I bet your kids feel the same way about music class. Ask them, and make sure they get involved with music in school and in their lives.
A PSA brought to you by MENC, the National Association for Music Education, and the National Anthem Project, the campaign to restore America's voice through music education. Music, part of a sound education.
Today's entertainment has been brought to you in part by Galito's Restaurant. Galito's specializes in Portuguese cuisine. In addition to these delicacies, Galito's offers pasta, steaks, seafood, and chops. A full-service bar includes wines, beers, and spirits to complement your meal. Galito's offers casual ambiance at the bar or their dining room. Galito's also has a private banquet room for social events with a party package to accommodate your budget. Galito's also offers seasonal cafe seating. Galito's is located at 29 Elm Avenue in Mount Vernon, New York, conveniently located across from the Mount Vernon East train station. You can call Galito's at area code 914-668-0100. Once again, the number is area code 914-668-0100 for information on reservations, or go to the website at www.galitosrestaurant.com. Enjoy your dining experience. Voted #1 jazz cabaret club by New York Magazine, the Metropolitan Room is one of the most critically acclaimed venues in New York City and is known as the home for big-name talents and rising stars. Known as a celebrity hangout, the Metropolitan Room is a high-end cabaret and jazz club and brings the best in live music